YouTube, what's up? Back again for another daily fishing video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Guys, today we're talking topwater fishing. Right now is a fantastic time to fish a topwater all through the South, but especially where I'm at here on Toledo Bend. You know, we've had nothing but rain and wind and high water, and that is one of my favorite times on this lake to fish a topwater. And let me tell you guys, it translates to a lot of lakes all throughout the South. The fish are feeding early and late. And we're going to talk about what topwater you need and the colors you need, which I'm going to tell you, I'm not a big color guy, but in the sense of fishing a topwater, it is really, really important. But hey, real fast, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you get notified every single time I post a video. But guys, let's dive on into this. Topwater fishing is the most fun fishing that there is. I don't care what anybody says. Seeing that big fish blow up on the topwater bait is second to none. And right now is a super, super awesome time to fish one. But before I get into the topwater stuff, I do want to say one thing. If you're in this area, Toledo Bend, Sam Rayburn, whatever it may be, and you see one of these supercell storms come, please get off the lake. This is the craziest time, the craziest wind I have ever seen in my lifetime here on this lake. You know, 40 to 60, 70 mile an hour winds, sustained winds. It is just crazy how bad it has gotten. So if you see a supercell coming, don't try to hide. Don't just get off the water immediately. So just be safe. I want to see all of y'all the next time. But hey, let's dive on into this. So topwater fishing. My favorite type of topwater this time of year is a walking bait. And not just any walking bait, but a Strike King Sexy Dawg. This is the time of year that I fish the regular size Sexy Dawg, and I throw one particular sound. I throw the KVD hard knock. The hard knock is a single knock sound. For some reason, that single knock draws fish from a longer distance, I believe, and gets you more topwater strikes. You know, one thing you're going to notice on this particular Sexy Dawg is an old loop knot that I have tied on here. And that is how I actually tie every Sexy Dawg on, is right there with that loop knot. Now, loop knots can give you a couple advantages. The first advantage is it's going to allow that bait to get even harder side to side. You can fish a little bit faster. And in this particular situation, I'm fishing braid to mono. I'm fishing 30-pound Strike King Contra braid to a 17-pound Strike King mono leader, tying that loop knot on there, and it is going to maximize your performance. So the walking bait, you know, the cool thing about a walking bait is you can fish it virtually anywhere. You can fish it over the top of clay points. You can go around cover and fish it. You can fish it around schooling fish. You can do all kinds of different things with it. And that's what makes it so versatile. You can fish it in a little bit of chop. You can fish it in calm days. The fish really just eat it. I mean, I can't explain to you exactly why they eat it, but it's a bigger offering than, say, like a little popper like this right here. You know, and a popper is a great bait, and it's going to get you a lot of bites, but it has to be the perfect conditions for the popper. But this time of year, if I'm looking for a big bite, if I'm looking for multiple bites, I've got little storms popping up around, I've got windier days, I can tuck in, fish that Sexy Dawg, and I'm going to get a lot of bites. So, when it comes to colors, I fish 5 different colors. And here are the 5 that I fish. I keep it really, really basic, but not basic at the same time. And I'm going to talk to you why I fish each one of these colors, what colors these are, and in every situation you might need one. So my mainstay, the one that stays on my boat most of the time, is either a bone or this is the oyster color by Strike King. This one has a little bit more of a blue glimmer to it. I'm going to fish this particular one in a little bit more clear water, whereas this one is going to be more a stained water situation. And the reason is that blue glimmer, especially in clear water, for some reason they really tend to hone in on it, and I get a lot of bites. This is going to be the one that I have tied on, and I can basically fish everywhere, and I can read how the fish strike this lure to determine if I need to change colors or change lures altogether. You know, I can give you all kinds of situations where I've been in this, but the cool thing about throwing the bone or even the oyster color is if the fish are missing the bait, or if they're just coming up and looking at it, you know you need to change. So if I'm making a change, a lot of times I'm either changing to a chrome or clear. In this situation, this is green gizzard. It's more of a transparent bottom. All of them, as you can tell, are hard knock Sexy Dawgs. They're all the single knock. It's one I throw, it's one I use, the one I'm most confident in. So if I'm in a really clear water situation, the sun's high, it's the middle of the day, the green gizzard is the one I turn to almost all the time. Now, I have been in situations where I throw the chrome in that exact same situation and I get just as many bites. You get on a place like Murray, Hartwell, and places where they're eating those herring, you're going to want to throw chrome, and sometimes you want to throw clear. So you're going to have both at your disposal. Now, chrome, especially in stained water situations and that sun's high, is definitely one I turn to. I think they hone in on it better. I do not like fishing chrome on cloudy days. That's when I turn to your bone, your oyster, or even in some situations your natural shad. Natural shad is more one I use more in the fall, if I'm being completely honest. It's more of a gray bottom, and especially in clear water situations, they really like that gray bottom in the fall for some reason. But 90% of the time, I can get away with the bone, the oyster, green gizzard, and the Carolina chrome. The Carolina chrome is this one. We actually make a chrome Sexy Dawg, and I personally don't use it very much. It actually has a white bottom and chrome sides. I like the bait to be solid chrome, and I have to thank my buddy Todd Castledine for really turning me on to this color around on these lakes, because this is one that he turns to almost all the time. But I'm still a firm believer that you have to pay attention to shades of color, because at the end of the day, the fish is going to see the bottom side of this bait. So, and if you can look at that, you can actually see a very significant difference on the underside of these baits, and where it be chrome, bone, or the more transparent green gizzard. And finding those situations and hitting those particular situations right is the difference between catching fish and not catching fish. I can't tell you how many times I've been out there on the water and I locked a chrome Sexy Dawg in my hand, and it started getting cloudy, and I kept throwing it, and then I started all of a sudden missing fish. Fish were blowing up and missing my bait. Guys, it happens all the time. Same thing with bone. You got to be flexible when you're throwing with topwater and picking the right situations to throw one. When it comes to gear, I keep it really simple. I want a 7-to-1 gear ratio reel. I don't really care which one it is. I a lot of times just use either a Pro TI, a Lose Pro TI, or a Custom Pro or something like that. Something that I can put a good amount of 30-pound braid on and I can make long casts with. That is what is most important in this situation. As far as rod goes, once again, I got to thank Todd Castledine. Forever, I used a 6'9" square bill crankbait rod, and it still to this day is my favorite popper rod, prop bait rod. I throw a lot of prop baits on that rod like this here because you can roll cast with it. But when you get at long distances and you want to fire this bait as long and as far as you can, that's when a little bit longer rod, a little bit bigger rod comes into play for me. And I actually turn to the Lose Signature Series Thunder Cricket rod, or the vibrating jig rod. It's a 7.3. It's got a good tip. But guys, man, when you load up on that fish, they are completely stuck and you get them to the boat. And it is so vitally important that you land that fish. And you want to have enough strength in the rod for when that fish hits, even if it's at the very end of your cast as soon as the bait hits the water. And that's what I was running into with the square bill crankbait rod, is I could fire it a long ways, but if they hit it on the end of that cast, it was a 50-50 deal if I was going to land them. I have increased those odds to, I would say, around 90% by increasing my rod length and the power of my rod. It's a little bit stronger rod. So if you pay attention to all these details, you're going to have a lot of success throwing a topwater right now, and hopefully it'll help you land a couple big ones this time of year. So guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit about topwater fishing, how to pick the right colors, and a few of my favorite ones to fish right now. And until next time, I'll see you on the water.